What ultimately inspired you to write a book?
For me, it was almost, I understood what I was signing up for as far as reality TV show to a certain degree. I just didn't know how it was going to affect me after the show. And I felt mentally I was struggling with feeling like I had control of my life. I couldn't control headlines going out. I couldn't control how the public perceived me. I can only, do so much. So I felt like writing the book was very emotional and therapeutic for me to sort of take back control of my life and share stories my way.
One of the many things you opened up in the book was how you struggled with your sexuality growing up into your
Yep.
early 20s. What inspired you, or like what motivated you to be vulnerable and open up about something so personal?
Yeah, I actually went back and forth whether I was going to include that in the book, and to what degree. And then as I started thinking about it, I just thought how cool it would have been if there was somebody that I could have talked to, or somebody that I knew was going through the same struggles as me as far as my identity and what I believed in, where my values were. And I also thought it was important to point out the fact that I knew and recognized that I grew up in a very hyper masculine culture with football, and I grew up in a conservative faith-based family that, I was taught certain things are right and certain things are wrong. And it sort of played with me and messed with my mind a little bit of, okay, I believe in that, but why do I believe in that? Do I believe in it because I was told I was supposed to believe in it, or because I truly do feel that? So it allowed me to sort of take a step back, and it really helped writing about it too, because I sort of had this moment of clarity where I realized what I went through, and I was internalizing a lot of my issues and my struggles. And I just feel like like I said, if this could help one or two people that are going through something to make them feel like they're not alone right now, then I feel like the book was a success.
That's awesome. That's amazing that you did that. So you said in another interview that even to this day, you still battle gay rumors, even though you were on 3 Bachelor shows, you're in a serious relationship.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that now?
I mean, shoot, I get them almost on every one of my Instagram posts, or I get a message every here and there. Here's what I'll say about that is, if obviously people have those opinions, they have those opinions. That doesn't, I mean, I have nothing to prove to anybody. But it was something that I struggled with in grade school and in high school, and even in college a little bit, of trying to like battle. Why are people telling me this? Are they telling me this? It almost made me analyze myself of maybe that is true. And that's where my struggle came in at, of like, there's something so off, and people tell you what you are, who you are, you almost start believing it. And that's why I wanted to share it with people, of saying like, hey, it's okay to be different. It was okay for me to make the personal choices I made. And I think it's just easy for people to connect A to B in a straight line. And life is anything but a straight line.
Definitely. It's not, I don't think anyone's life is a straight line like that.
Yeah.
So you shied away from revealing specific details about your sex life, which I thought was really awesome. Yep. Even though your book title was the first time. But you also dropped a lot of hints about it. Was that your decision from the beginning, or did you expect readers to fill in the blanks?
Yeah, so I actually did that, just like I said before, to sort of play on the fact that I knew that topic was overplayed on TV, but it wasn't my doing. But now I'm gonna own it, and I'm gonna show you like, hey, I don't mind. But what I do mind, and where I did think the TV show did lean into it too much, where I do mind, is now I'm in a relationship with Cass, and we've made a decision together that we want to keep part of our lives private, and that's going to be the part that we keep to ourselves. I made a joke the other day. I was like, her baby announcement is going to be, my virginity announcement, I guess, if you want to be very honest, because we're never going to directly, address that situation.
So you kind of, going off what you said, you often wrote in the book that producers came annoyingly close to crossing the line about your whole Virgin Colton narrative. It was always Virgin Colton, Virgin Colton. Did you ever get a say in hey, this is going too far? How much could you control it?
Not a ton, but I do think there was a moment where I had a conversation. I don't know who I had it with, but I said, hey, let's just keep the show about finding love, not about trying to get me laid. I think that was the thing that I was trying to portray to them, is hey guys, I understand you have a story to tell. I understand there's a storyline that fascinates you and the viewers, but I want to keep this show what it's meant to be.
You definitely threw into some comedic relief when you spoke about producers helping guys out if they got a little too excited. What did your family have to say about you writing that? I have to know.
Oh, geez. You know what? The first person to call me out on it was my grandma. I sent her an early copy of the book, and my Nana called me or texted me, and I think her exact text was, she had two things to dispute. One, the plot of land that my family was gifted. I made like an error in like the accuracy of that. And then two, she goes, I never needed to hear you talk about having a boner, but I actually always was curious and wondered what those people did with that. So it was sort of funny, like that the fact that my Nana called me out on it.
So you also speak a lot about relationship with Allie Raceman in the book. Did you talk to her before writing it, or since it's been published?
I have not. And I actually didn't really consult and talk to anybody in there. I tried to remain very respectful in the ways that I approached my relationships and only talking about my experience or things that have already been made public. I never wanted to tell somebody else's story. I never wanted to shed light on something that wasn't my right to do. But my relationship with her ended a few years ago, and we have not spoke since. So that sort of remained the same. And I have nothing but love and respect for Allie, and I think what she's done and what she is continuing to do for girls and women all over is huge and much needed in our society.
You also wrote in your book that you decided as a teenager you were going to wait until you fell in love to have sex. Why didn't you use that as a response when people would ask, like, why you were a virgin? Like, they would assume it was just Christianity or something. Why didn't you possibly say that? Was it because you were still questioning your sexuality at the time?
No, I think I just realized even after writing this book how much I internalized and how much I struggled to articulate why I am the way I am. And I think that paragraph that you brought up earlier, I'm a walking contradiction. Sometimes I'm hard and I'm challenging and I'm a complicated person, and other times I'm very simple. And I think that's true for a lot of people. Is certain aspects of certain situations in your life you deal with differently. And for me, I think there was a lot of different reasons that went into that choice and that decision for me. And I struggled to articulate it at times.
If you could go back, is there anything you would have done differently?
I mean, it's easy for me to say I live my life with no regrets. Of course I could have done, I think, but just the opposite's the truth. Like, I could have done a million things better, but they all got me here. They were all, either good for me or bad. And I took something away. Hopefully I used it as a learning experience. So, I mean, yeah, there's 1,000 things I could have done differently and handled situations better. And, but I think it would be boring to be perfect, to be very honest with you. I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to fit in. I don't want to be a cookie cutter. I want to stand out, and I want to be okay with being imperfect.